All right, hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier. We are broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy, and we are back with another session of Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. This is actually the start of a new adventure titled, and this will be my best attempt. I'm still refining my Klingon pronunciation, but I believe it'll be raQpo. A little bit of work on that. I'll try to refine it for next session, but
It didn't sound like you're spitting on your screen.
not quite. That may be
No, but
partly
it did sound like he was trying to swallow his own tongue.
probably need to draw some of it out a little bit more. The apostrophe at the start is meant to be its own sort of punctuation or letter posted
It's like a
near the
breath.
yes,
It's supposed to
pretty
be like a
much.
breath.
Yes. Yes, much like a hopla. The GM is spending a lot of time on Duolingo. Very, very quickly, just at the top here, I wanted to first note a couple tokens of appreciation. First, one small one goes out to the Bardic Inspiration Network, who gave us a shout out the other day. Um, and I just wanted to say we consider them friends at at this channel. At the very least, we're grateful to have one of their players on the Aegis campaign as Dr. Lambeth. The other note, which I've already made in a previous session for Aegis, but I've not mentioned it for those of you that have been just watching Broken Sword. This is actually the first episode of Broken Sword, the first session of it, after we crossed the affiliate threshold here on Twitch. So I think it was just after this that we hit the intermix of subscription, or rather, followers and views, everything, and it's just been steadily growing since then. So I wanted to say to those of you that just catch this show, uh, I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate the that you've been giving us the time of day. Uh, I consider myself very lucky to be able to tell the stories that I want to tell when it comes to these Star Trek adventures. I especially appreciate the players that have come in and day out. You guys really bring a lot to this, and I'm very happy to have you on this. And I hope that we can all. I hope I can keep you guys interested in the stories that are to come, and for those that are watching, I hope that I can continue to bring you interesting stories. And
Aw,
a
thank you.
yes, a thanks from the deepest cosmic recesses of my heart.
That sounds dirty.
It is. Yeah. In any case, while I'm also shouting out other people, check out one of our other players who who has a channel of his own, Overland Gamer. For those watching in the archive, there'll be a link in the description here. Likewise with the Bardic Inspiration Network. I have tuned in a few times myself during some spare time, during some writing. It's a nice chill stream experience. Aside from that, go check them out on Spotify. The Overland Gamer podcast, as I recall, features numerous instances of travel, discussions of board games, and board game shops. Would you say that about sums it up there?
Yep. And we just started in the month of February. We just started expanding into tabletop RPG content. So we introduced some alternate D&D games. And this week's episodes, we just did an interview with Steve Dawes, who's a freelance writer for Palladium's Beyond the Supernatural. So we're kind of expanding a little bit more into some TTRPG stuff, and pretty excited to see where it goes.
Huh.
I'm gonna want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, well, for those of you that are in the archive, the link will be in the description, and I encourage you to check all of that out. It'll be quite fun, undoubtedly. For everything else, link wise, for those in the archive, this will just be in the description. But just for anyone curious on keeping up to date with the events of the campaign, either here or the Aegis campaign, socials are in the chat. And of course, if you're in Eastern time or a time zone like that, and you want to check out something on a Saturday afternoon or find yourself having some time to spare, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we air the Aegis campaign. So that's set during the Enterprise era. We're getting into some seriously exciting events there. But enough of that. I think it's high time that we got into our own campaign and got underway. So let's go ahead and pick things up. I believe today we are starting with not so much a log as a message. So go ahead and take it away.
Lewan, I hope this message finds you well. As promised, I am sending this to request an update on the status of my patients. Are they being well cared for? End message. Computer reopen message. I need another rational mind. None of the others have this mental capacity to understand. I told you all I cared about was saving lives. And now we have a biological terror weapon aboard our ship. I could have put a disruptor through its skull. All it does is take and kill. It starts with one, then a handful. Soon you watch as entire planets are raised to breed ever more. Delete line. Monsters who bring only suffering should be put down. But I couldn't. It was hurt. It was communicating, understanding in its own way. Does that make me weak, strong, a coward, brave? I don't know. It needed help. I couldn't look at another one of these in the eyes and take that away. I can't blame it for acting as it was created, can I? No. Beings who make something like this thing, are the real monsters. But I am mad at the crew for keeping it secret, the captain for using it for existing, our engineer for torturing it, myself for letting it live, and for my hatred of it, and I don't know what to do with this anger. I don't sleep much, no time. 3 high-intensity patients now. It's not enough I have this weapon to deprogram. I have to keep that worm alive after he nearly got killed by the weapon. And of course, at the exact same time, Woe decides to prove my theories on her correct. No, it's more than that. I traveled as far away as I could from what I was, but no matter how far I go, it keeps clawing back. Perhaps I truly am cursed by Sihaza. I am glad you chose not to come with us. You deserve better than to be on a ship of the damned. But I do wish I could speak in person again. Delete line. Your doctor, Kresic. End message and send.
That message is among perhaps a smattering that leaves the yarn over the next few dozen days as you warp from the Talinor system, where you were able to succeed at a job dealing with a mining claim and shady dealings of a house, and on to your next task. Mostly been hauling through space on a long haul, riding riding essentially the subspace trade winds, as it were, or favorable channels where your relative speed would be significantly higher. There's probably at least one stop at one of the a refueling station where you would get, or rather a trade station of some sort, where you would get a chance to offload some of the dilithium that you managed to haul in. Between your recent successes at the job and the surplus spoils of war, as it were, you have gained yourselves a modest amount of wealth. Not so much, Tabak, that you feel like you can comfortably remit very much or solve your broader financial woes. Indeed, you may be starting to at least approach partway to an even break in terms of ship repairs. However, it is at the very least ensuring that maintenance and other refueling costs are easier to meet. It gives you a little more certainty to resupply above board rather than specify an exact amount. We can just say that at present you are modestly well off as an independent starship captain. Would anybody in particular wanted any scenes to have transpired amongst the players, or would they like to affirm that they were doing anything in particular?
Sometime betwixt our last bit of shenaniganry and now, I would have gone to have a chat with Kresik.
Very well. Would you have preferred this to be at a point in time relatively earlier in the timeline, or would you say have wanted heads to cool a bit from the end of the last adventure and any fallout there and wait to engage until a later date, basically?
Probably would have waited till we were offloading our cargo or converting it to currency or whatever it is that we were actually doing with all of that dilithium
Fair enough.
and getting the ship fueled up. So after that,
Okay. Did anybody else want a particular scene that would have taken place earlier in that point in time?
Azek would have just ran standard ship drills and stuff like that with the helm control to make sure that everything's functioning tip-top shape.
Copy that.
I vote that we have a scene with Azek in it because Azek needs to do more because he's awesome.
Oh boy.
We definitely need more Azek.
Less Hot Pockets, more Azek.
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
yes,
You finally
shudder.
understand. You finally understand.
Yeah.
Well,
no mascot pockets.
no more dark pockets.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think that, let us go ahead and start off with a scene on the bridge, which, for our purposes, let's see. I'll take we'll say that this is happening at some point. It can be concurrent with the conversation that Tabak is having. Um, I'll leave. At the very least, I can. I guess I could leave. What's his face? Dekoth on the bridge. We'll have Vopri there as well.
Yay!
If any other players would like to be in the scene, and that could include you, Tabak, if you want this to precede a conversation with Kresik, then I'd be willing to let you take that too.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well,
I end up monopolizing a lot of scenes simply because I'm the captain.
Hmm.
I can step back and let somebody else have it.
Starting off here, Azek, you are. I would say that you're in a relatively melancholy moment here at the helm, as you are downing what is sadly the last ration of Gach pocket that Traven was able to prepare before he met with his untimely encounter with the Raldar clone.
In my head, there's a sad violin sound playing as I'm eating it.
The Gach is long since dead and stale, adding an extra bitterness to the experience.
Can I do what would be control and con to scan the sector that we're in flying through?
I think that would actually be more of a reason and con.
that works.
But you may, yes, of course, you may still do that.
See if we can get our momentum up a little bit with some fun rolls.
Certainly, certainly. Well, I was going to say it's a difficulty one,
Oh,
which
sorry.
you rolled one success, so that does meet. The ship may assist you as well with, that would be sensors and con. Somebody would care to roll for the ship, please.
Whipping it up, baby. There's con. What?
Okay, that is one success, so I will give you a point of momentum. Joe, would you like to be the designated momentum officer for the?
Yeah,
For the...
I can be the momentum
Do
person.
it.
All right.
I've never done it before, so this will be exciting.
Yep. Yeah, the sector you are entering is relatively barren as of right now. It's actually been a remarkably boring bit of travel. This may attest partly to the relative weakness of the Imperial fleet of the era. It's broadly known that since the 4 Years' War, the Klingon fleets have not been, or the proper Imperial fleets have tended to be much less present along a number of major routes. Some of this is that at this point, the houses tend to operate spheres of influence in which they themselves operate and like largely govern the territory and enforce it with fleets of their own, either their main fleets or the intendant houses, those that are capable of supporting a ship or those that receive the patronage to operate ships. As for the rest here, of the places that the fleets tend to focus their patrol, a lot of it is located more in border regions, a few trade routes nearer um, or some nearer Kronos, and just otherwise in a few more strategic locations. You would have actually expected this far out that there might be at least one ship to challenge you in the area. However, anything that is out here must be focused even further westward. To give yourselves an impression, you are located in an area of the Empire that, while still not to the boundaries of what is considered Imperial space, you are still a little ways shy of the frontier. It is an area that is more, it's more territory colored and on a map without much of a point of interest. About the only place of any sort of note is your next destination, the planet of Jumashkad. Or
Bless you.
Jumashkad.
What's the distance between us and them? There.
You're probably within just a few light years. It's well within the sector, or like near the boundary of the sector. So it's not going to be a terribly long jaunt to get there. Not
The
with.
England of of the Klingon Empire.
Hmm?
The England of the Klingon Empire. All they eat is Todd.
Oh,
I'll relay the distance to destination to Captain Tabak.
I'll imagine that there's since Tabak may be a bit busy at the moment, it'll just be a pending message here. But you,
Yeah.
between bits with the console, you take a break to pull the gach pocket off the console ahead of you to take another sorrowful bite. I must make an admission.
What do you got?
I never understood how you could eat that.
Through my mouth? It's definitely an acquired taste. I've heard that it's very similar to Klingon blood wine. If you're not familiar with the taste, like some pink skins are, humans, of course, that it takes a little bit getting used to. But I've rather grown to like these slimy little things.
Well, I suppose that is to your preference, but in any case, I do not know the broader galaxy will miss them. Certainly not the
Eh,
ship.
What kind of cuisines did they have at your homeworld, or do your species enjoy?
The Rantal slightly cocks his head to the side. As looking behind you relative to the seat, he is not a terribly tall individual. I would suspect he pushes, if he were standing up straight, which he very rarely does, it would be closer to maybe 4'8". But more often he is hunched, much in the manner of someone anticipating being physically abused, hit with some sort of large object. He very much has the demeanor of somebody that would seem like they are about to scurry. Um, with honestly, the fact that he has come up to his console suggests a good degree of comfort on his part, that he has felt like he could get away from his station and move towards you without uh, anticipating a blow.
That's because he has a very
I do not
open-minded cat.
know. Oh, sorry about that. What was that there?
I was just saying that's because he has a very open-minded cat.
The colony which I lived on they served us a very basic nutrient compound, something to maintain working capacity. I have never been to my homeworld.
That's a shame. We'll have to. I would very much enjoy trying cuisines from all parts of the galaxy, including your home world. Well, we maybe have to when Traven is out of their issues. Maybe we'll see if they know some kind of recipes or where to find some culinary delicacies from your area.
He kind of his brow, which, to be clear, as a Rantal, he is completely hairless. So as he furrows his brow, there aren't eyebrows, of course, to come together. You can make out a very slight, distinct bit of wrinkles against the ivory features, which is probably there are shadows that come from it, accentuated by the low light of a Klingon ship. I do not think that likely. My people have only known Klingon domination for some time, and where I believe my homeworld to be has long been deep in Imperial space. I do not believe, or I do not know for sure, I do not believe we were capable of interstellar travel in those days before.
As we're kind of talking, I'm going to make note to do some research on his homeworld and something for GM consideration. What I'm trying to do is get some information on some cuisines that they might have had, or where I could find that information to kind of surprise him at some point. Now, this is farther down the road, of course, but
Certainly. I guess Vopry will look over you as you eat the gok pocket a little bit more, but he'll eventually, the more he thinks about it, he'll kind of move back a bit dejected from the conversation. Other work to do. Must make sure the space head is clear.
Indeed. Maybe sometime later we can talk again in the mess hall over some blood wine.
So long as you are the only one drinking the blood wine. I am much more partial to the doctor's taste and drinks.
I knew I liked him.
Who doesn't like Vopry?
Clean water enthusiast.
Yes.
Don't
My
you
mind did
know how
not go.
dangerous H2O is? Good lord.
My mind did not go to clean water. It went to like some engine whiskey or something weird like that. I completely spaced that one.
I like to call it methanol.
it can pilot a gas powered engine, and it can clean the scum off the bulkheads.
That's
Wow.
bloodline.
Yeah.
He drinks water. Don't you know people die with it in their bodies?
Raldar, did you have anything that you think your character would be up to? Any interactions you'd want him to have on this particular day or at an earlier point in the timeline?
Well, unless you got some updates on the attempt at educating the dinosaur. Not really, not much.
Okay, then not much indeed, because Junior is a project.
Sounds like an
Or-
extended task, if you ask me.
Yes,
It's in the
of a
Very much so.
of a most tedious sort. Yeah. Otherwise, of course, I also wanted to check in with you. Woe, is there anything that you would want?
Oh, not at this time. I'll have to think about it a little bit.
That's quite all right. You take your time, and we will
Thank
use that for a. We'll use some of that time to go ahead and run a scene for now, which takes us, I would expect, down into sick bay, or rather,
Depends.
up to sick bay.
Depends
Yeah,
on where he finds me.
that is a good question.
I would try to find you in sick bay,
Okay.
med bay, whatever we're calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Medbay. My lab.
fair
Little
enough.
shop of horrors.
Yep. So Tabak, after setting aside, or after a quick review of whatever ledgers you may be keeping track of, a few more, rather, review of some of the updated details that you've received regarding the mission that lies before you, you realize you do have another matter to tend to.
Oh yeah, no, it's been on my mind for a while now.
Yep. And there, that takes you up to the crew deck, and specifically to the threshold of sickbay. Uh, unless you say anything else beforehand, the doors open, and like you press the button to open the doors, the release engages, and you find yourselves in sickbay.
Sick bay right now is a disaster zone. I haven't really had time to keep things tidy. Basically, my time is 1/3 keeping the stasis tank going, 1/3 patient care of our Kazin, because I highly doubt she would be wanting to spend all her time here, and 1/3 watching Junior and just trying to make sure that he is healing properly and keeping a disruptor pointed at him while I'm sitting there watching him. And whatever time is left over is sleeping.
Indeed. So, when you enter sickbay, it is a little bit askance. Not to say that I don't expect that there would be much in the way of like equipment all over the place so much. Or
You just see like data pads and papers just skewed all over the place. A lot of like empty hypo cartridges
Mhm.
on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not even paying attention to that really. I make a note of it, but it's like, well, this is the way he wants to run it. He can run it that way. I step in, observe the mess, look at the tired Gorn.
that is a question. Is Kresic awake at this moment, or are you catching some?
Yes. I would say you would find him. He's currently just running scans on the stasis tank.
Approach Tabak and
You're gonna
indeed.
hear the door open up. You turn around, or are you just still focusing on what you got?
I would just. Who is it?
Me.
I'd put down my scanner and turn around. Captain.
We will have words.
Yes, I suppose we will. Did you hurt yourself fighting again?
No, not this time.
Hmm.
But I have damaged your trust. That does not bode well.
I have patients on this ship that I must attend to, and I will make sure that they are all well. That is what I do.
After the captain, the second most respected person on a Klingon ship is the medic. Third's the cook,
And we are all here.
oddly enough. Are we keeping Traven, or are we going to find a way to get him help or get him off of the ship?
His physiology is too unique to care for by any other doctor. I would not trust them to do so.
Understood. Stasis pod functioning normally?
All is well. It is not draining too much power from the ship and is functioning within parameters as long as I keep it maintained.
Do I need to have engineering take a look at it? Make sure that it is working and does not require your constant maintenance.
I would not be opposed if you have the time. I know our ship is temperamental.
Our ship at the moment is in the best shape it's going to be in for some time. So,
Then it would be useful.
then it shall be done. My next question concerns my weapons officer.
What do you wish to know?
Woe is unwell.
Yes.
Why?
Can I make a roll or some such to figure out what my past research has determined over the time between the initial problem that arose and now?
Well, I will. I mean, I'm not sure how much more would have come out of it, but I think that if you'd at least like the chance to earn additional momentum, I would give you a reason and medicine roll.
Very good. Difficulty?
Uh, since you're building off an existing theory, and you might have had I would say there hasn't been much activity on this end, but you've still been maintaining some observation. I'll keep it easy for you. We'll limit it to a difficulty 2 for now.
And one of my focuses applies.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not even going to ask which one.
We know which one it's not. Paranormal phenomena.
We don't know that it's not. You just said one of them applies. You were very non-specific and evasive, so I'm going to go with
Like-
super. But that's aside.
Just rolls, zeros, and complications.
Yep.
Woe's haunted.
Woe's possessed. Yep. Possessed from the ghost ship. Sorry, bye.
Okay, that is 3 successes. So that will actually net you 1 more point of momentum, which I'll go ahead and pass out to you. I think for future reference there, Joe, you can actually, I oftentimes just deal it out, but if you decide you want to just pick some out of the stack there, then you should be able to just mouse over that and draw.
Okay.
The secret is not to tell the GM which one you're doing. That way we get double the momentum.
I did not say that. That was not me.
You gotta slide it under the table, you see.
Anyway.
And then you hit him with one of these.
Anywho,
You
gave me some you did give me some information, but I wanted to see potentially if there was more information, but also make sure this is done mechanically and not just Deus Ex.
Okay.
So I do have the information if you'd like me to paraphrase it.
Yes, I would say go ahead, paraphrase to an extent, and obviously there haven't been major signs of activity since then, so this is based more off a single isolated, well, in terms of the major bout of activity, it's based off the one major scan I think that you've had some suspicions for a little while. So fluff that out as you will.
Alrighty, so he would turn to you. There are my study of Kazin physiology is woefully inadequate. But
My dear doctor, did you just make a joke?
he's going to ignore that and keep going. But there is some sort of chemical reaction within the brain. It is unknown, inexplainable at now, no root, but possible extrasensory connections brought on by stress. I do not know why.
Woe is an Esper?
It is possible. Again, I have only ever treated the one Kazin, and your records, Klingon medical records, tend not to have details on races you have not conquered.
There may be technical information. There may be information in technical databases that you haven't looked at.
Perhaps. I will continue studying. Do you have any knowledge of Kazin?
Aside from their bulk and capabilities as warriors, I have very little experience with them. They're competent warriors, extraordinarily dangerous, but woe breaks every conventional rule I thought I understood about the Kazin.
Yes.
She has proven reliable, she has proven capable. But this disturbance in her seems to be becoming distracting.
And dangerous.
Hence the distraction. As an engineer, I would cut out the offending system. I don't think that's going to work medically.
I have been researching inhibiting compounds, but it is still very early and I do not know what side effects could arise.
Are the medical systems here enough to run simulations without having to treat woe as a test subject? Or is this something we should consider upgrading at our next port of call?
You are asking a doctor if he wishes to upgrade his home.
Point taken.
However, I have ways to test these without harming woe if I get to a point that I believe it is time to begin trials. I have options.
Have you examined Croker?
No.
This Earther female holographic personality is distressing.
This what?
I feel like that's a very good point to cut out the scene there.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Cut the commercial.
Yep. Instead of the threatening aura that surrounded Kresic the last time he was blindsided by one of his patients aboard ship, it's just the utter confusion. Um, but
What's wrong with our ship?
I think this is actually the moment that over the audio line, as more time has elapsed through this, Vopri would actually call down, uh, Captain to the bridge.
Punch the button on the wall. What? Nuchne.
Uh, I'm sorry, Captain, for interrupting. We are closing on Jumashkad. Khad. I am sorry. The back of my throat, it is very difficult to catch some of the consonants. It is bad.
How long? How long before we achieve a standard orbit? Assuming Kresic, or pardon me, sorry, Doctor. Assuming Azek doesn't crash us into the planet again.
Well, hold on, let me ask. Azek, how soon do you plan to pull out of warp?
Right now, I guess. Or how close are we?
If you came out of warp now, you'd be at the system's edge. It would give you a decent amount of time. Alternatively, if you want to set yourself up on that non-existent promotion track that you think totally should be a thing, then you could pull in real close and basically be able to make it to the planet in mere minutes of impulse hauling.
The captain instructed the last time I hot rodded, no more hot rodding, so I'm going to follow orders and pull out a warp right now.
So we're going to have like 2-3 hours before we get all the way down to the planet.
Yes, there will be some time. I am beginning pre-approach scan. Obviously, it will take some time. Just thought I should be advised in case of threats or anything.
Fine. Keep me appraised.
I will keep you apprised. And Vopri will just cut off the line from his end. But yes, with that, I think that I still think it'd probably be good to move elsewhere. Let's see here. Would anybody else want scenes of any sort right now, either among their main characters or with the, let's see, with perhaps supporting characters of any sort?
So I know that Ray and I had discussed potentially something with Zionol and Woe, but that's up to her if she wants to do that now or later.
Okay. Yeah, I will drop the option.
My memory is super bad. I forgot today was game day, in case you didn't realize. So yeah, I can do that. Let me just reread our conversation.
Yep. I was going to say too, if you want to let it kind of flow naturally, there may there's kind of things are set up within the colony such that there's if you wanted to have like a small group doing other things outside of the main job, then we could always cause this to happen a little more naturally. Of course, you can send in whatever group composition you want. Alternatively, I think that if you wanted to do it on the ship, then having at least one more scene before you reach the planet would make sense.
I'll wait.
Give
Let me just.
give Woe a chance to read and remember.
Reading is hard, okay?
It's a very short conversation, but I couldn't get it to pull up, so here's where we're at.
Perfect.
I can buy you
I
10
got it now on my
minutes.
phone.
I can give you 10 minutes. Here, have my dyslexia card.
Oh, thank you so much. But yeah, I'll wait a little bit. Let me just
Okay.
reread this.
Fair enough. Well, there is actually one additional scene that can be done here. Um, and very specifically, it'll actually take us down to engineering, if you are interested, Raldar.
Do it. Do it.
All right. All right.
Okay. So, you are sitting about the engine room, wiping away probably a little bit of gach that was thrown around Junior's room the last time you were in there. You've had some good days and some bad ones, but you'd like to hope that the arc of his training bends towards something a little more sensible, a little more Klingon, something that you could be proud and honorable with. Um, but as you are stepping into the engine room, you find Kelsa working on. She actually seems to be running some diagnostics on equipment that she is carrying. Um, and she's running a few scans on that before picking up what appears to be some sort of components that she's working at.
Well, what's going on here?
Ah, I uh, if I have to deal with one more defective annular confinement unit, she says, holding up the module, I might go back through and tear apart that transporter room myself.
I don't want to start all over again. It just barely works now.
Not after this morning. I
Did it
was
break again?
I was running a diagnostic cycle and detected a fault in there. I pulled the necessary components, and sure enough, we had another short out. It's beyond what we presently have parts to replace, or, well, we might be able to synthesize something with little manufacturing capability we have here. I'd honestly prefer uh, to get a new part wholesale if possible, preferably something newer than this. Um, yes, we're having more spillover effects from our initial repair work, it seems.
Uh,
Said I.
well, luckily, with all the lithium, we might be able to get a good price for some replacement parts.
I just hope that wherever we're going either has a landing platform or has working transporters of their own, because no one's using ours for the foreseeable future. At
Uh,
least not the mains. Cargo transporter still works fine, but, well, I wouldn't want to go through that.
not the safest, but worse comes to worse.
Yeah. Oh, in any case, sir, she says, Raldar, the engine, I have been running additional diagnostics. It seems that for the time being, there's no further faults after repairs conducted to the disruptor systems, and the the mains are functioning well, so we should be back to full power as we enter the once we come out of warp. Which, as she says that, there's the alternating whir of or like whirl of systems switching over as you go from warp drive to impulse, which seems right about now. I'll start on passive regeneration.
Oh well. This ship's been in worse shape. We'll be fine.
Oh, don't jinx it.
I I hope so. From what I've been reading on the technical specifications, we could definitely use, aside from the transporter components, we seem to be short a few compounds, which would be a little more standard to the ship. It seems that at some point you had to make the hull plating a little bit thinner, or rather the external duranium plates. Bit patchwork.
Yeah, we needed to fill the gaps.
I suppose that I should thank you for that. Again.
Luckily, hopefully, we should now be able to afford to replace the armor, so it's only a matter of time.
Here is to hoping. No. I will go back and see if I can find some way to bypass uh, the damaged units, and maybe we can get partial transporter function. Start working with that croaker.
Eh,
As she steps away, she smiles just a little bit, just the hint of a grin. Croaker amuses me.
he's an interesting one. I can give him that.
Agreed. And with that, Kelsa will leave you in the engine room. So, um, unless anybody has anything else they would want to do, I guess first I'll ask Raldar, engine room to yourself, anything in particular you'd want to do?
Uh, let's see. I don't know. I could do a power management, just up our power a bit.
I mean, that would just put you into over positive levels because I believe that ship's power would be restored to full and would have been restored to full by the start of the session.
All right. Then
So if
fix
it's
up
not
the
back from the
shields.
last time, then it ought to be.
Then
Or
I
you
will
can go ahead and
figure.
freely redo that.
I will update that then. All right.
Okay. Well, seeing nothing else, or if nobody has anything they want to bring up now, we can go ahead and move back to basically move everything back to the. Geez, the GM should not be having as many problems right now.
It happens.
Go ahead and take us back up to the bridge for your arrival at Jumashkad. Or Jumachkad, that's closer.
Yeah,
Still
it's a
working
letter.
on my back of the throat. Okay, so all right, some time will elapse, and the crew will make its way up to respective positions for anyone that is immediately on. I think this would be a time where the captain calls you to your station.
Yeah, call everybody to station.
Yep. So there's a particular bridge crew. Anyone who doesn't anyone who isn't usually there, I suppose, could also take a step up if they want. But let's make sure that everyone who's supposed to be there is there.
I turn on the audio line this time myself.
Yep. You
That would be
don't
good.
you do not want to be caught off guard this time again. So let's see here. Putting Koth there, and Bahan. And for some reason, some of the tokens are being just a little bit weird. So I'll go ahead and move people over and amend the nameplates as we go. But yes, some further time elapses, and Theon makes its approach to the world of Jumashkad, which I'm just going to abandon any pretense of being able to pronounce properly, or at least on a consistent basis.
That's about right, actually. Just Jumaj Kad.
Yeah. Well, again, more in the back of the throat than I'm doing. But let's see. Basically, the planet ahead of you seems pretty well like a bit of a desert world. There are some small bits of maybe a few small bits of blue to break up the largely brownish khaki color of some of the segments on the planet. Vopri is just idly rattling off bits of data here and there. That seems very, very marginal. I don't believe they have any settlements beyond the main one. Uh,
There is just the one, yes.
it seems quite strange. The Empire would just go out this far to, or rather, would set up something here in particular.
Do you have the genetic information we were given on our potential passenger?
Yes, sir. I did review that, Captain, and I have set it up to where it can be copied to any of these scanners. I even made sure a copy was available for the doctor in case he goes down and wishes to convert the file to his personal scanner. Hopefully, or
So
I hope it works.
there's no chance we can scan the individual from orbit.
Mm. There would be some difficulties with that. My sensors are regrettably not that good to locate the precise genetic makeup. These sensors are
Antiquated, yes, I know about that.
also better suited to discerning whether more a weapon were fired on the other side of the sector than determining the precise physiology of a single individual or other precise genetic material.
We can tell life signs on the surface, and we can tell species of life signs.
Oh, no, I am sorry, Captain. I should have clarified. We can, of course, discern between general sorts of life signs and relative strength of the life readings, but I could not discern. I mean, this individual, near as I could tell, is Klingon, and there are only Klingons on the surface.
Oh, that narrows it down from several million species.
There are not several million people down there. I think it would be closer to hundreds.
Are all of them in the settlement?
Yes, sir. I'd save Captain for what seems to be two individuals on the station that is in geosynchronous orbit.
Station.
Yes, it appears to be a small refueling station of some sort.
Ah, I believe the Earthers would call it a choke and puke.
I do not have that kind of reference, sir.
So, gas station in orbit.
I
Azek, how is our fuel situation?
Punch up the fuel
Yeah.
information on the computer.
mean, deuterium is fairly common, but it's always something that you could always fill up the tank a little bit more before you like while you're at a stop. I'd say the reserves are still decent here.
No. Let's fill it. Let's top off the tanks. We can at least scan the two in orbit. Is there any way we can? Is there? I don't want to scan people more than once if it can be avoided.
Might cause cancer.
Vopri, is there any tagging agent that we can create using materials on board the ship?
I, I do not know if that is within my capacity. Uh, are you talking about metallic tag or some sort of energy imprint or some sort
Something
of
that we can, some way we can mark individuals that we have scanned, so we don't scan them again.
oh,
I don't necessarily plan on telling everybody on the damned planet that we're here to collect somebody.
mm, I suppose with there only seem to be well with mm, I do not know, Captain. I think that I suppose that we might be able to try to develop some sort of screening material, or perhaps if you were to, perhaps the doctor may be able to discern something more from the genetic information, give you an idea, something of what more might be available on the passenger.
Bridge to Kresic.
Hmm.
I'm sending you genetic material, genetic sample.
Very well.
Examine it, please. Tell me what you can of the target.
Very well. What do I roll? Reason medicine? Control medicine? Daring medicine?
I think insight and medicine would be more appropriate here, and the ship.
I don't like that option.
Oh, bitch.
It's true though. This works. Fitness medicine? Are you sure?
I said insight and medicine.
I'm about to see how much medicine I can fitness check.
I will ask you for a difficulty of 2 with your insight and medicine.
Okay, sounds good.
So we're
Genetics.
doing a fitness check now?
God
No.
damn it.
Genetics would apply.
Absolutely. And the
Okay.
ship will also assist you with medicine and computers. No, medicine and sensors, rather. I think, actually.
Do y'all want me to spend a momentum for an extra die or nah? How important is this information for y'all?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I vote yes.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I'll say this is a difficulty 2 roll.
Yes. Insight medicine. I have cautious, so I'll be able to do a reroll should things go poorly.
And what's the ship rolling again, please?
That would be sensors and medicine. And Kresic, you roll 2 successes there.
I'm gonna reroll those 2 zeros.
Oh, with cautious, that'll. Oh, the ship gives you another 2 successes. That is very well done from the ship. And Kresic, you.
So I just win the game.
Yes, you win.
Except that you mentioned the game, so now we all lose.
Dang. My
Yeah.
bad.
Kresic, you pull the lever. The genetic sequences line up. Or like the slot is spinning, then it lines up. There are lucky 7s across that. The Darsex come pulling out. Traven pops out from his pond. It's like, congratulations, you are the winner tonight. What are we giving him today? And it is a large tank of perfectly clean water. You break from the daydream and find that the genetic material is indeed showing you detailed information, and yeah, you can parse out pretty well. To say that this individual is Klingon is very obvious to begin with, but what else you can discern? The readings suggest a Klingon male, one likely in effectively probably the equivalent or the human equivalent of late 20s, early 30s. No signs
So
of
essentially young adults.
fairly so. But most importantly, you notice the absence of certain markers in terms of the DNA sequencing, uh, a sort that you've obviously become familiar with, given one of your side projects. Uh, and
Hint, 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 hint.
I mean, yeah, given your familiarity with the side projects that you have, you notice the absence of certain genetic markers, which give you a very particular, help you narrow down further exactly the type of Klingon that this would be.
It's a Klingon male, young, 20, maybe 30. Ridged head type. I am not good with your language. You know what I mean. Like Azek.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, him, oh, that one I can almost say.
She's getting
That's
better
the
at it.
one.
So Hemhoch male, young. Well,
That
now we
should
know.
help narrow things down, I hope.
Yes, it will. Now we know who not to bother to scan. Raldar, I know you're
Yeah.
listening.
Good.
Get out scanners for everyone who is going to be landing on the surface. I'm assuming the transporters aren't working, so we'll just land. Assuming Azek doesn't embed us in the planet again.
Uh,
Get out the scanners for everybody, and I send him the. This is the genetic sample of the individual we're looking for. Program it into the scanners.
Affirmative, Captain.
so,
So, Vopri, signal the station. Tell them we
hey,
need refueling.
they are already sending. As he like as he pushes a few buttons at the comm panel, there's like a loud sort of just the immediate sort of ambience that would suggest screaming Klingon on the audio channel. They are already sending a challenge signal, Captain.
Fine. Tell them we're here to refuel.
Oh, okay. Um, uh, it's Klingon station. This is again. We are just here to refuel. You speak too quietly. Are you afraid? Do you afraid? Captain, I do not like this.
I heard. Speak clearly, you fool.
I am sorry, Captain.
Not you, him.
Oh, do you want me to put this on broad audio here? Would you like me to open the channel to you?
On the screen.
Okay. Uh, they are accepting. Um, the channel opens up, and ahead of you, you see the black clad suit in the style of an imperial soldier of the era. For those that may not be able to see it clearly, I'm putting a token up here. But Klingon soldiers of the era actually very closely, if you recall from of all things, actually the Kelvinverse Star Trek, Imperial soldiers of the era wear a full sort of well, like it's a multi-piece suit, of course, still, but it's like a long sort of jacket, and like they wear armor that completely covers them. Included with that is sort of a black mask that has or like a metallic mask of a sorts or helmet that has ridges coming out of it. Um, so that is the type of figure that you um, see ahead of you on the screen, who has already started barking. Ah, we deal with a proper Klingon now. Nukne!
We are here to refuel and to
But
examine the surface.
very well. You are permitted to dock and come aboard the station. Our transporter site, presuming yours is, unless yours is functioning properly, we can engage transporters for you and bring you down to the surface.
We'll land.
You will do nothing of the sort.
Why?
Because if you had bothered, something that if you had a competent sensors officer as opposed to that thing I've been speaking to, Vopride just shrinks a little bit. There's considerable geological instability near the deuterium mines. Any effort to land could risk destabilizing the whole thing. That's why we don't build landing platforms there. Anything at least close enough to the settlement. And if you wish to hike 400 kilocams from the nearest stable site, that is your business. So, basically, it seems that there aren't good landing sites. You are kind of bottlenecked into taking a transporter in order to get down to this planet, of which the station has an operable one. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh.
hear you.
How the heck did I get it muted? I must have hit the button or something.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So yeah, my next question to him was, why are you mining next to something so unstable?
The Empire puts us where we are demanded, and the deuterium is of sufficient grade to support our operations on guarding along the fringe against the treacherous hydrants.
As you wish. We will dock and then use your transporters to get to the surface. Is that sufficient for you? Does he have any rank insignia?
None visible to you.
It would be up on collar tabs typically. All right. Is he is helmet too?
His uniform is maybe a little bit askance, as or something even you would notice with someone who's not been in Imperial service. This could very easily just be that he didn't care on the particular day as much as anything else. This seems like a pretty backwater outpost.
Yeah, kind of figured. All right. Close the signal. Well, Brian, what kind of... Are they having geological instabilities around their mining facility?
I am conducting a sensor scan. Sorry, one moment, please. So, quick reason and science roll from him. With 2 dice, so I'll just roll a second one.
Does the ship help?
Ship could help with sensors and science. And you do have, well, I suppose if you want me to roll one more die, you still have, like, after Kressik's major success there, you have, like, 3 momentum just floating around.
Hey, you know what? That 3 momentum gives another 2 dice, doesn't it?
That could.
It's just floating there. We got to use it before the scene ends.
Yep. You can
Go for it.
also. All right.
Or we could spend 1 for an extra dice and 2 to create an advantage.
Also true.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, so let's do that part. Get the extra die and get an advantage. And here, let's see if ships can help me.
Well, Vopri scores 3 successes, which will be enough to meet everything he needs. Captain, what he is saying is a bit correct. It seems as though there are deuterium mine sites that are spread out throughout the area. A few, some bits of they do seem to vent fairly close to the settlement. They are too minor for to be too much of concern for routine operation. Just I would not suggest firing weapons in that area. That being said, there are unusual rock formations of various sorts, and it seems as though anything that could be built up might disrupt the geological formations. The subsurface areas that they are drawing the deuterium from could potentially there could be instability from repeated landing and um, takeoff sequences from ships.
Understood. Roldar, the
Yeah.
transporters operational?
If we are lucky, we can get 1 pad working.
How do you feel about spending that advantage to just have it work?
Ooh.
That might not
Those-
be a bad idea.
We have 1
Big-
functional transporter pad.
Big brain.
Have you scavenged parts from the cargo transporter to try to get the main transporter functional?
Well, do you want to destroy our cargo transporter?
It's not destroying, it's simply repurposing the parts. As long as it's not the molecular imager, it should be fine. The molecular imager on the cargo transporter, as you know, has a lower resolution and is not meant for living things.
Captain, I may have another solution here.
Go for it, GM. I mean, Glowfry.
Yes. One possibility. The settlement seems to be very limited, but I have been cross-referencing my sensor scans with the uh, data we have on the colony. There may be what appears to be some sort of scrapyard, possibly some leftovers from the initial colony foundation, possibly some other remnants of other ships there. I do understand that there may have been some very mild shipbreaking and surplus parts deposited there. We could well acquire useful components down there, possibly even including the transporter parts we need.
Good work, Glowfry. I knew there's a reason I didn't kill you.
Vopri still just shrinks a bit.
Doesn't even get a joke.
He knows he has the persistent sense of the fragility of his life on this ship.
Come on, I gave him his freedom.
I mean, half the crew could accidentally step on him, so it's understandable.
Even Tabak could accidentally step on him and break his neck.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Boilo Vopri.
I mean, I'm afraid that Cheshire might actually accidentally kill him one day.
I have had close encounters before.
Oh. Well then.
So, The question now becomes, what?
Landing party.
Yes. Whom do you all wish to take down?
I want Raldar and Kelsa, because they're going to go scavenging for parts. Ooh, look, synchronizers. Um,
And they were away teammates.
huh?
Anyways,
Okay.
Going more up.
Want Woe to come with me.
Yep.
Because I need the backup. And oh, who's my bodyguard? That's the Koth.
Yeah.
So the Koth and Woe.
All right. So
Azek's got to fly the ship. I want to punch Zional.
Aw.
Aw.
I'll say for Azek's part, the ship will be docked. If I'll say that if you guys want to make this an A and B story while you are down on the planet and you would like to split up, if any of you have interests in bringing more than one character, then you are welcome to split things up. Alternatively,
You know what? If we're just gonna stay docked, then then Azek doesn't have to stay on board the ship. Drag his one-armed ass with me.
Exactly. So
there we go.
It's however you want to balance it. I want everybody to have a chance to play somebody if they would like, and to generally have a presence in the mission. So, I'd like to go down the list here actually. So Captain, you'll have you.
Croker is staying on the ship.
Croker is absolutely coming. What are you even talking about?
I don't care if he is or if he isn't coming, but he's staying on the ship.
I mean, he'll never will if you keep rejecting him.
We've got to keep an eye on the transporters for when we need him to beam us out of a problem.
And I think Kresic needs to call him in for an examination as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
There's the B story.
No.
There's the B story.
Yup.
Kresic and Croker.
Oh, my
Sounds like a
God.
great
How did we
plot.
go this long?
I could actually see that at some point Croker also told Kresic about Betty, but he was very much so into his own thing that he wasn't paying attention either.
Yep.
The thing with Croker, it just comes up in as idle chit chat.
You know Betty, my good friend.
Yes, of course. Get out.
I'd like to imagine he rambles like your aunt who tells you the names of all the people she knows, but you don't know them, so Betty is just another one of those people you don't know.
And don't care to know.
And don't care to know. The shade.
Excellent. Okay, let's see. So, going down the list here, the captain is obviously bringing himself for the A plot. Let's see. Raldar would obviously be involved, at least in the B plot. Would you want to bring anyone along for the A plot, or any of the other supporting characters there? I don't think Junior is allowed just yet.
I don't have a kitty leash big enough and strong enough for that.
Zional would volunteer to join, being that he's your quartermaster and person who can do negotiations to buy stuff.
All right.
Okay, so gosh dang it. So Zional, Kelsa, and Raldar are gonna go find us parts.
Yep.
Not like Kresic's parts, but different sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, those parts
It's
are already
okay.
part of the ship, part of the crew.
Oh my God.
Of course I did.
You did, yeah.
And Croker is going to go have or the doctor is going to have a conversation with Croker.
Let's see. So
we got a C plot. We got an A, B, and C story.
Yeah, Ray. On that note, Woe would obviously has been asked to come along with this, and Croker is going to have some fun times with the doctor. It sounds like. Would you...
Not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Well, He's
Putting
never.
things into other things for a better tomorrow, but not in a good way.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So anything you would want, anything you'd want to do with another character in particular, or
I don't think I have. Well, I have one other character, but they're not here.
fair enough.
They're not anywhere near here.
Yep. So we'll leave that for now. Joe, in terms of like, it sounds like both Azek and Koth are being involved in surface ventures. So, I guess would you want to have Azek in on the A plot or the planet side B plot?
Probably the B plot, because Dukoth would go for staying with the captain and making sure he's okay.
All right. So I think that covers everybody. Bahan will maintain watch from the ship, or he'll be meandering around somewhere on the ship. Vopri, of course, never leaves the ship. Not if he doesn't have to.
Hey, I told him to leave the ship though one time.
He's too fragile, and I depend on him.
Yes.
He's like the most dependable crew member we have. I
Yeah.
think he's the only one without a dark, psychologically twisted backstory.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, it's just a thing.
So Vopri in the D plot is going to have a survival base under siege type situation where he is beset by Cheshire. So
every once in a while, he's gonna run through the background of a scene with the cat. You just see the little tail of the cat as it cuts into the bottom of the screen as he goes running past, screaming.
Yes, just waving his hands. Ah! I can't scream high enough for Vopri. Yes.
Ow.
Sorry.
That was borderline
Actually-
Ferengi screaming right there.
Yeah, actually, channeling Hans Molman, caught in hold on, I'm doing my best, Tamarian. Hans Molman in the phone booth. No, that I need the highest pitch scream you have. No, that's too high. So a glass just shatters around him. Anyway, the GM is long since off track, and I should get this back on for you. So the other question is, do you want to bring anything heavier than your disruptor pistols, or anything bigger than a mechleth?
I've got my disruptor pistol and my mechleths. I'm good. I'm pretty sure the Koth is going to want to bring a rifle, isn't he?
I mean, I'm just saying.
If you wish for me to bring a rifle, I can.
Rifles do mean there is an escalation.
Say again?
Rifles do mean that there is an escalation. Or they come at cost.
They come at a threat cost, basically, because rifles are battle weapons.
Or a momentum toss.
It's just
Escalation has to be threat.
I think there was like a one or another.
I think that's
Opportunity cost is, yeah.
Yeah. Which I
Let me
will
pull
not...
out the weapons.
Captain, are you Dukoth will address Captain? Captain, are you expecting somebody vicious down there? I do have my disruptor pistol, and I kind of pat the pistol in its holster.
No, I want you more heavily armed.
Opportunity 1 or Escalation 2 for disruptor rifle.
I want the Koth better armed.
Glad you're taking me and not that lousy pilot. All right. What?
So
I guess we'll add that to my sheet.
Yep. I'll.
I'm slapping Dukoth on the back of the head for that comment.
How hard?
Just hard enough.
Okay.
Just Maybe take the whole head clean off, but
A shove versus a strike, let's say. You can roll, but we only count it
Yeah.
for knockback. Or knockdown, rather.
Nah, I can't go that hard yet.
Fair enough. So, let's see. Yeah, I guess then, well, the good news is, well, no, we'll start bad news first. You pay to threat. Good news, everybody can take a rifle, though.
Anybody who wants a rifle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Really, at this point, it means you can take anything from the full array of combat weapons that you have, which, as far as the group goes, please check the. It's in the pins. I believe that you have the. Woe decided to pick the ground assault package, so it
Yep.
should be that third option there. Anything in that set you could bring along with you.
Do we still have grenades?
You do have thermite grenades, yes.
Does that incur an additional cost, or is
I,
that included?
I will allow it for the. I'll allow you to have that as part of the escalation cost. But yeah, it's pretty much. I think for that, the rifle, spear, and grenades are the. Picking any of those would incur, or that would trip up the escalation cost for me.
He hands to Koth the spear and takes the disruptor rifle.
Well, I'm going to take a couple of grenades. Just for poops and grins.
Copy that.
Grenades are fun.
I'm just hearing, Jane in my head right now. It'd be awful nice if we had some grenades right about now.
A thermite grenade.
Still a grenade.
It don't go boom. It does other things.
Yep.
And that, if we have to get through a door, we can get through a damn door.
Let's see here.
I guess. You know what? You're right.
So I am just splitting up the party here now. And of course, something happened with the tokens again, so I'll need to
Classic.
mark out names. Yep. Wouldn't be Roll20 running something there without at least one of those types of things happening. But we'll get it fixed up. So I believe that comes out to 7 of you in total, with the captain, Woe, and Koth moving out in one part of the party, and then Raldar, Azik, Zional, and Kelsa moving in the other. After the ship is docked and latched up to the station, you begin walking towards the point of exit. There is inside there is a single point of, or rather, there's a small room that kind of takes you from the airlock into a very small sort of intermediary station. A very bored-looking transporter operator in full Klingon armor, that is to say, of the Imperial style of armor, or the Imperial soldier style of armor, to where it's like the full body coverings and helmet. Just is kind of hunched over a transporter pad. He'll stand a little bit more upright as you enter. Surface bound?
Yes.
Alright, please step on the pads.
Okay.
And yeah, the 7 of you will begin to make your way down. Just a short ways behind, I imagine, or right near the airlock of the ship. One could imagine Croker running, hoping to rejoin the group, because how dare the captain leave without him? But I could likewise imagine a scaly hand grabbing him and stopping him from getting any further.
I just imagine Sweetums from the Muppets and just getting yanked. Like, wait for me, you guys! And then just oh my god.
Sweetums is my favorite puppet.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Anyway, so a little bit of time elapses, and when you materialize and come out of what is effectively a very small, kind of a small utility shack that contains the transporter room, you step out into, well, definitely a fairly alien planet. The words hardly do it justice as you step out. Vopry was certainly not lying when he said that there were a great many unusual rock formations in the area. Indeed, it seems less necessarily like organic rock formations as it does the boneyard of as if a great battle were fought among giants and they had long since decayed and only left behind large formations of stone, bending and twisting every which way, uh, nonetheless extremely thick, scarcely eroded by whatever precipitation, if any, truly hits this area. Um, you would kind of doubt that any seriously does, though, as you step outside and you find yourselves feeling quite a bit of a dry heat stepping outside. Um, I'd say that it probably feels like I'm I'd say probably somewhere in the 78 to 81 degree range. Well, I guess with cloud cover, it'd actually be a few degrees cooler than that. We'll call it, in terms of Fahrenheit, close to 75, 77 degrees, and somewhere in that range. So quite a warm day. Probably pretty comfortable, actually, for at least the Klingons and certainly the Gorn, too. I don't
For
know.
those of you not listening in the United States, those were all degrees given in Fahrenheit.
Yes, yes,
Freedom units. Freedom units.
yes, yes. Yeah, for those that are, for the rest of the world that is sensible and was taught to, was just operating on or operating on proper Celsius to, for your reference, it'd be closer to about 25 degrees, or 25 degrees Celsius at the high end, close to 20, like very high fractions of a 23-degree range. So very small range, but yes, relatively warm. Um,
But dry.
yes, very dry. And
Dry heat.
as you step outside, very dusty too. The the surroundings, um, as your boots connect with the dirt ground, you find that to call this dust or dirt is not entirely. It's not the most accurate way to describe it. The granules of this planet, or at least what coats the surface, are so much more small, so much more compact. It would be more accurate to say that to describe them as fines, as in very fine, sort of powdery type elements. Really, such to the point that you suspect you'll probably want to speak with the doctor and make sure that your lungs are not too damaged from inhaling anything if too much gets kicked up. Um, but at least as you step out, it seems that gravity here is high enough that it's not being that much of a concern. You wouldn't want to get caught in a dust storm, though, here.
Probably not.
Yep. But so this environment, yeah, pretty much with these large, eerie, like abnormal skeletal-like formations all about the landscape. Uh, there's scarcely room for much of anything in this area, but the settlers do seem to have carved out some paths, and there are a few small buildings scattered about, um, and like a few signs of life. There seem to be a handful of Klingons that are walking the grounds. Just from the vagaries you can get in the distance, those that have an exposed forehead, you can tell are mostly Kuha, the smooth-headed Klingons of the original series era. Those who were long since,
Like me.
yes, much like the captain, descend from those who were afflicted by the Kuvat virus and have lost their cranial ridges. Um, yeah, other than that, the only sign of life are unusual. It's hard to say precisely whether they are proper plant or fungal life forms, but there seem to be some sort of more likely mycelial looking bodies with some bioluminescent capabilities. It's an
Okay,
odd
so
bunch.
we got fungus and we got dust.
Yep. This is a pretty trash planet as far as places that the Klingons decided to plant their flag.
Yeah.
Better or worse than Gotakor?
Still marginally better because there's deuterium they can mine.
Okay. Okie dokie. So, where are the damn breaker yards so we can send you guys to go find us some employees? We have to talk to somebody about this, I'm assuming. Is there any was there anybody who like showed up to say welcome to our crappy planet?
Nobody has bothered to do that. They're not giving you the time of day. Uh, but I'll say Kelsaw goes up to a what appears to be some sort of beige or auburn sheet of some sort attached to a post or a metallic sheet, and she'll brush at it, and off will come a considerable bit of the fine powders, and it will reveal that it is in fact a sign written in Klingon. Well, it seems that the breaking yarns appears to be just seems like about half a calicam east of our position here. The only other buildings it seems to mention, there's a refinery site, a few residential areas. Seems like the main feature is that tavern up ahead.
All right. Well, you three go find us parts. Get back up to the ship and get the transporter working. That's your job for now. And we'll go check out the tavern and scan everybody we find. Try not to be too obvious about it. Everybody should have a scanner with the correct genetic information on it. Yes?
Yes, hopefully. Yes.
Of course, Captain.
Yeah.
Azek holds up one hand. I just have to imagine that he was hiding behind Raldar at this moment.
Yes. Azek can only hold up one hand.
Yes. Well, you only said the three of them were on the other job.
I think he was deliberately ignoring Zionol.
Fair enough.
Azek sneaks.
No,
Azek starts
three.
sneaking
No.
towards.
The three. No. The three are. Hold on.
I think Azek was planning on sticking with the B group so that he could play the Koth.
That well,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry.
That was
It was gonna
before
be.
Essex saw there was a tavern. There's got to be music in the tavern.
Oh,
That's it, it's the
I was
bar.
sending Raldar, Zionol, and Kelsa to go get the parts.
copy that. Yeah. So, Azek, have you decided that it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that somewhere's got to be on this planet right now?
As Ezek is having a very he's staring like death right at that tavern, and is internally in his head he's trying to figure out if he should follow the rules or not, and he'll follow the rules for now out of respect for Tabak.
Meanwhile, Woe is just hearing like, "If you like pina coladas," blasting from.
Spectacular.
Ezek might not make it back to the ship before visiting the tavern, but we're good.
All right.
He can hope.
So,
Or
No,
cope.
I'm beginning to hope not.
He'll begin to cope.
okay. So, I guess to start off with, Raldar, Tabak, I'm going to ask each of you to engage in our favorite, well, our only house rule, and that is the narrative initiative roll.
I will let them go first. I have zero problem with that.
Oh,
I
Tabak
will
has
voluntarily fail that roll.
You
Tabak
don't
has
have a
surrendered.
choice.
Do you accept his surrender?
Do we accept their surrender?
I will surrender harder if I have to.
Do we get points for winning?
That is not very Klingon of us. Come on now.
Well, you
I-
may roll a single d20 in place of Tabak.
Yeah, man, I gotta do everything around here.
I'm attempting to be generous because I'm apparently a scene hog. So
Well, would you like your group to go first, or would you prefer to let Raldar
Go
and
first.
No, I don't want to go first.
Go first.
go.
You have to.
Let them
The
go.
dice have spoken.
No, let them go.
Fine, we go first.
All right. So is the plan to run over to the was Tabak's plan to run over to the tavern just to double check?
Yes.
Oh my god.
All right. So with
As we just one quick thing,
yes,
if I may.
of course.
As we're parting separate ways, Zionol will just sidle up by Woe and just say, "We need to talk when you get back to the ship."
Woe straightens up and levels him with a look. I thought I told you to keep your mouth shut indefinitely.
Well, I'm suffering from headaches recently, and I tend to forget things.
I'll consider it. And she walks off.
So, as the three of you split up, the group led by Raldar are going to make their way over a very slight ridge following a dirt path. It is pretty much all dirt paths around this area. But you managed to find your way towards what appears to be the inn. It's a fairly small rectangular building. Kind of the way that things are arranged, there's a very sort of slight dip immediately around the area, as if there are slight mounds of or like mounds of dirt that have been excavated around it, somewhat compacted. It seems to be some of it is natural hillside, though. The rest is just packed in to create sort of what would feel like a slight obstacle, but isn't too too difficult to traverse. In any case, there is a path between the middle of it that takes you right to the entrance here. And walking along that path, you'd find that standing up straight, for you, Tabok, it probably comes up just about waist high. Whoa, that probably means that gets up a bit above your knees.
Mid-thigh.
Yes, woe is
At
quite
best.
at best. Yep. It is at least nice to be able to stretch out your legs and not be hunched over as you need to be to get through the yawn. But yeah, with that, let's see here. You enter the bar area, and
And again, we're supposed to surreptitiously be scanning everybody we see.
yep.
So we can find the target.
Well, outside there is relatively little going on. No sign of anybody that's occupying it. I'm going to go ahead and move us to a map here. Uh, there appear to be a few people in this relatively dimly lit environment. There's a few lights along the ceiling that really just serve to reflect what seems to be some sort of ambient sandstone. It's as if all the internal materials were pretty much like from the floors to the walls themselves all seem to suggest that. The only slight breaks you get are from a few bits of modular material. Like the area seems to be broken down into several tables, at least for the like sort of public facing area, or rather the location for patrons to sit. The tables themselves seem to be, you'd guess, probably were pulled off a ship at some point, possibly even as far back as whatever ships first were taken apart and set up here. Um, the tables, on the other hand, seem to be some sort of carbon material, close to a wood look, but obviously something like that would probably be outside of most people's price range here. Uh, but yeah, in the lighting, you basically tell there are other occupants, but you'll have to take some scans to learn a little bit more about them, or take a closer look here. The one person who you can pretty clearly see is up by the bar, a very portly gentleman, a koha with hair coming down to his shoulders, worn fairly loose, setting up some sort of drink. Uh, be with you in a minute. Well, come and get your own drinks when you want to. And gosh, haven't had a Pharaoh in here before.
First time for everything.
So yeah, the five of you enter in. I'll say the general demeanor, you in the relatively low lighting of this area, you pick up that there are the five figures about here. Um, Two of them in the upper left table seem to be engaged in some low conversation. One is faintly illuminated by the bit of a pad. Um, the one person who you have most direct line of sight is just kind of settling in. They seem to have like a bit of cloth draped over their face and head, and they seem there's a very slight bit of a dust trail coming off of them. The far right table just seems to be pass out drunk,
Problem.
or there are a lot of cups there.
All right. Well, just go up to the bar, get a drink, pay him,
Okay,
sit back down at a table.
gotcha. Um, is anybody coming up for some blood wine or anything else?
I'm just gonna go like blatantly scan the drunk guy.
I got.
Okay. I like this. Let's add
I
another
don't.
layer. I kind of so I think we'll act in order here. Tabak, I'll let you take the first move here. Dakoth, would you be going for a drink or would you just be going for scanning?
Dukoff will be going up next to the captain and getting a drink.
Okay. Let's see. Well, would you mind if we hold off that scan scene while the two
Oh yeah,
Klingons?
no, that's fine.
Okay. We'll let the two people observe the pretense of what they're doing. So Tabak, Dakoth, the two of you make your way down to the bottom of the, or rather, bottom of the map here, but up to the bar.
Yep.
Hey, um, what can I do for you folks?
Blood wine.
Uh, I've only got the 873 and a small bit of the 861 left.
873 is fine.
Yeah, it's a terrible vintage, but it's the best one I've got.
I know.
He will pour out from a beaten up gray canister into a couple of glasses that definitely look like they've seen better days. It's more appropriate to say cups, and as they are also of a similar beaten up metal quality. But he will lay out two of them before you and gladly accept your Darsex.
And then I go sit down at let's see which table. The table close. You can get those the stairs going down in the corner there. That black.
Towards the corner where Woe was going to scan with the pass out drunk guy.
Yeah, I can't indicate. How do I?
You should just be able to like mouse over, or like place your mouse in the area that you want to do
There.
it and click.
See
Yeah,
that table.
yeah. So as you walk off, the bartender will say, "Not much for conversation. No stories of epic battle, I take it.
Not yet. Let me
What?
drink the wine first.
Must be a freighter captain, or a garbage scow captain."
Careful now. And then I go sit down. Drink.
Yep. In the time that you were moving there, first I should ask: is Dakoth also moving in tow with Tabak?
No, he'll kind of stand there with his drink, and he's looking into it, kind of very distant. It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are any of us here? He takes a swig.
God, he's gonna get all philosophical. God.
I'm here to serve drinks and to keep the customers compliant here. You're not going to get on my bad side, are you?
Oh, of course not.
Very good. I'll say, baring his teeth.
Never get on the bad side of those who serve such good blood wine. And he takes another sip.
If you're going to try and appeal to my better nature, then you could have just left a larger tip.
Sadly, he's the one that controls the money, and I kind of point over towards Tabak.
Yes, blame your boss.
You fucking threw me under the bus, dude.
I'll point in the direction of Tabak, but I'll kind of lean towards Woe.
How? Oh, okay.
It's a group effort.
Yes, everyone but yourself. speaking of woe, you you walked over in the direction of the passed out drunk man. You said you were going right up to him.
Yeah, I'm just straight up holding the scanner right next to him.
Okay.
Whoa,
Reason
whoa,
reason
whoa!
and science, please. Just to start off with
Y-
difficulty 1.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
After that, I'm going to ask you to make an immediate security and insight roll.
Oh god.
Reason and science. Okay.
Yep, that one's just a difficulty 1.
See? And then what did you say? Security and fitness?
Insight.
Insight. Okay.
Is your mic messing up?
I don't know, probably.
I was asking the security and
Huh.
fitness sounds perfect for this role.
If only. So, well, in the first, I need to see just how this works out. Wait a minute. Okay. In the fleeting moments where you can see this the scanner with your 1 success, you actually find this is a perfect match. Those moments are interrupted when a diktak with rapid speed goes from the gentleman's belt into the scanner, not quite going halfway through it, thus not endangering your hand, but causing it to spark a little. Do you have to be so loud?
I am so sorry. Pardon my insolence. I am just taking a survey, and I am looking to see the long-term effects of blood wine on the average Klingon warrior. She says this and sits down and crosses her legs. Tell me, have you lost any of your warrior spirit, your virility, or your honor in the past 5 minutes?
As he draws up his head very slightly. Let's see, do away with that and switch over. He raises his head and casts back the cloak that was on him. It's very clearly Hemhoch, and with clear signs of a warrior's sash. I haven't done anything today to change my standing of honor, nor in any time these past few days. About the only thing I may have lost in the past, well, said it was 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Nothing in 5.
Hmm.
Might have had some bladder control issues in the past 10, but uh, uh,
We've all been there, she says, and pats him on the back. And I would like to grapple him really quick. Like, just, well, you know what? Let's not grapple.
Yeah, let's not.
Very stealthily grab him by the back of the neck and say, I think you should come with me.
I think you want to die if you're trying to pull something on me, Farazan.
I pull a lot of things on a lot of people. It's not exactly narrowing it down, and she holds, like, her diktat at the end of the other hand.
Oh, so it's a knife fight. Very good. I might die today yet. He just he bares his teeth with you with like the all the warmth of somebody who has just met their best friend after the first time in years.
I like your spirit. What would you say your name is? I'd like to get it engraved on your tombstone.
Yeah. Trust me, if I die, there'll be more than that to go up, if anyone cares. But he says as he dislodges the dagger from your scanner and flips it around in his hand. Um, he had stabbed down with it in a reverse grip, i.e., the dagger pointed down towards the table. With it flipped, it is now facing upward, and he'll wave it as if in a sort of wagging motion. I'm not so keen to speak with those I've only just met. After all, a stranger is an enemy you haven't acquainted your blade with yet.
Fair enough. And she takes his blade. Let me roll to see if I can just grab his blade.
You want to disarm?
No, I want to cut my hand on his blade.
Okay. I think then, gee, if there were anything there, I guess that might be fitness and security as a manner of like maintaining your composure for this.
Mm.
Okay. I there's a bit of a wince, I'll say, or like that this would give you, but I think that in his relatively inebriated state, Behem will just like observe you carefully as you allow the blade to slice up your hand a little bit, and some blood dribbling both from your hand and left on the blade.
She eyes the blood on her own hand and says, "There, that's my blood. My name's Woe. Your turn." And with that, she spins her blade around. And I want to roll to see if I can slice the side of his face really quick.
Daring and security. By instinct, he will contest.
Okay. Would a focus of sleight of hand?
That would definitely apply.
Okay.
And you do have full momentum at present. I technically should have taken one for the scene change, but I'll allow you if you want to use it before it goes.
No, I'll save it for something more important.
Okay.
I know he's a match. I hope the captain is observing this.
Oh. He's
observing it and highly chagrined.
Oh. He's going to go in for as quick of a block as he can. His reflexes, even inebriated, seem to match yours pretty well. It is not quite enough since you have both tied at 3 successes. Your Diktak will manage to, just at the tip, get a pinprick slice of the slice of blood after connecting with its cheek. The tip hued by a bit of by the slight purple magenta coloring or purplish red hues of it are kind of mixed up with Klingon blood. It kind of evolves a little. But he also seems a fair bit more alert.
She waves it in front of his face. There, now I've met you. What's your name?
He'll narrow his eyes to you, his brow furrowed a bit. You may call me Dirkier.
And she calls to the bartender, "More blood wine. Make it a double."
Well, I was going to say on me, but I'm afraid I've exhausted my remaining travel expenses.
Worry not, I just got paid. Would you care to meet my captain?
He'll flip his blade back down in a reverse grip before sticking it in the table. If he's bringing more blood wine, then go right ahead. Oh, is that the seemingly heavy heavy-handed Toba over there. He looks so sullen, as if there's no joy in his life.
Yeah, that about sums up everyone on our crew.
Oh,
That doesn't narrow it down for me at all. That said, I do think you're looking at the bartender again.
all right. So yeah, Tabak, you make your way.
I get up from the table I'm sitting at and sit down next to him. And I look at Woe and just shake my head.
Oh,
I am Captain Tabak of the Yan.
Captain Tabak. I take it this Farasin is something more than a pet to you.
I would be careful with how you speak of my weapons.
A skilled and skilled, I presume, not just in melee, but dealing death in space.
Very much so.
I like you, Farasin, he says, and he'll give you a nice clap on the back.
I return it tenfold.
Yep.
Oh, not tenfold. Oh.
Fivefold.
With it's enough to give him a momentary cough as he catches up and as the bartender brings by another drink.
Ordered 3,000 times.
Oh. There's, you're interesting. You have an interesting choice in crew, at least from this one sample here that I have. One for us is enough to make it interesting.
Typically, yeah.
What are you? What can I do for you, Captain Tabak?
Well, seeing as I've been sent here to pick you up, you can come join us on our ship.
So you're the ride home.
Evidently.
Yeah. Well, I guess you'll make do whatever you have. I just hope that you have a more generous supply of blood wine up here, though. I must say I've grown rather accustomed to this swill.
Well, by the swill, our supply of blood wine is shockingly limited.
Oh, well, then I must insist that we drink at least another round or two before we leave.
When he says that, Dekoth will come up with 3 tankards for all 3 of them and go back to the barkeep.
Ah, very good. This after the bartender had already brought some additional drinks by, so you will be working at these for a little while.
Yeah, probably.
Whoa, scooches hers towards the guy. She's not drinking that.
Yep.
To kind of keep an eye on the place, Dekoth will actually offer to help the barkeep serve, especially Tabak and crew and company.
Now
Maybe we can leave him here.
Now you're expecting me to actually hire you on, is it?
Oh, of course not. But I do have a favor.
Oh, what's that?
It's when you ask somebody for something, but that's not important. Right?
Does this place have a music device?
Oh, I'm afraid the only music that comes through here with any regularity is when the miners start singing some classic operas.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Our one-armed pilot, he has an affinity for music, and there's an object called a jukebox, and if you had one, I was going to. The favor was to make sure that it is out of order should he come into this establishment. But since that is the only form of music you have here, that will do. And I will gladly serve my crew with no charge, no favor required. Just glad to lend a hand.
Hey, sit back and drink what's been given to you, what's been paid for. This is my place and this is my purpose. If you take that away from me, you take away my reason to be, don't you?
I feel it more accentuates it because more people get served and you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
I scarcely characterize anything on this planet as fruit.
What is this, Space Scotland? Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You should be.
Yeah, he's definitely awful. It like dusty a backwater as this is. It's not the most pleasant experience, but yeah, you will all have a fair bit of drink to deal with for a little while. So let's cut away from that for a bit, and we can return to the scene after he's had some more time to go through his blood wine stockpile. Checking in elsewhere, where Roldar's contingent has reached what appears to be just scrapyard. Honestly, in some ways, feels a bit generous. There are piles of junk everywhere, but there is very little semblance of order to any of it. There is maybe a Klingon, another Koha on, like standing outside of some sort of electrical perimeter of some sort, or what appears to be some sort of force field type unit. Probably the most high-tech thing that you've seen on this planet since you got here.
Rimus. Ooh.
Outside of
boy.
the transporter room. Look there. The standard Klingon greeting, what do you want?
We need parts. Let us into your junk pile.
Oh, we shall. He glances over you, and before he's about to make a potentially regrettable comment, he notices that you're in Klingon armor. Oh, well, you can take what you need with the appropriate. I'll raise up a pad. I'll just ask for basic fee up front.
All right. How much?
He looks over you and looks at the bunch of you. I'm just going to put an amount of money on the pad, and I'm going to let you insight check whether it's reasonable. How does that sound?
Oh boy.
Let's call this insight, and I think command might be appropriate. Insight and command would be appropriate.
Can't.
I was going to say, Raldar, you don't necessarily need to be the one to do this if you don't want to.
I can assist. I think Raldar should do it, but Zionol would definitely be peeking under Raldar's arm at the pad. So
All
I
right.
would be willing to assist.
I'll take that. Now I want to ask, could I apply hazard awareness to this?
Oh, if only. think I'm gonna say no here.
Ah,
But Zionol, I'm sure, has something, and this is an activation technically for Zionol. So let me go back and check through. I don't think we've actually have we activated Zionol's. Or no, we
We
did to give
have
him a talent.
once.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you may still give him up to, I believe, 2 more talents. There's still room also for values or focuses, um, or you may put a point in an attribute or a discipline.
I'm going to give him a value.
Okay, I'll let you input that, and yeah, in the meantime, if you want to assist on that insight and command roll, I am pretty certain that you have at least one focus there that would be suitable for this.
that's a go.
Okay, Raldar, you score 1 success.
Insight command, right?
Correct. And with Zionel looking over your shoulder, Raldar, the initial your initial look over, it seems a little steep, but it could be within reason for the parts that you're looking for. Zionel, you know a little bit better. Um, you've had to peruse the junkyards every so often and search for some deals. And I think you could work down more of a bargain.
Alrighty. So I lean in and say, you know we're being overcharged, right?
I was suspecting it, but I'm not used to working with backwater planets like this.
Hmm. I see. A quick question for the GM. Mr.
Yes.
GM, sir. The price that he's giving us for entry, is that just for entry or is that for entry and parts?
It does seem to there is like a breakdown of fees as you examine the pad. There's like a base level entry fee. There seems to be like some basic level of like you enter this place and you pay either a finder's fee on the parts that you acquire, or if you don't find anything, then there's basically something attached to that would kind of like basically a what would be listed as the equivalent of a convenience fee. Like you were here, you wasted our time, and get out of my lot, but not without a few extra darsecs.
Gotcha.
Oh, a pay a fee to enter, and then a pay a fee to just leave, huh? Very nice.
Do you want to try to convince him for a lower fee?
Let's see if we can knock him down a little bit. Didn't even
Of
know
course.
junk here would be worth anything.
I'm going to sidle my way up. And I'm going to, if Raldar will let me, I'll take the data pad.
I will let you take the data pad.
And I am going to type some stuff into it, some adjustments to the cost. And flip it around, pass it back to this man, and say, unless, of course, you think that, well, I I think we can both agree that the sooner we're out of your hair, the sooner you can get back to whatever it was you're doing. And we will be very quick if these adjustments are made. Otherwise, we may have many tedious questions, and once the contract is agreed to, you know these things can't be altered very much, now can they? And if I need to roll for that, I'm more than willing to roll.
This isn't quite intimidation, but I would accept a command and presence roll to persuade him that there might be steeper paperwork involved. It's like, yeah,
Basically,
sure.
like, cut down the price, and we'll take care of everything, and we won't even bother you, basically, until we're leaving.
He'll scratch his chin a little bit. And yeah, I'll still ask for the roll. Let's call this one more roll at a bump this up a little bit, up to a difficulty of 3. You may still succeed at a lower roll, but 3 will give you like the maximum persuasion, as it were.
All right. I have a talent that's called Bargain, which says when negotiating an offer with somebody, you may re-roll a d20 in your next persuade task to convince that person.
That would come into play here.
Ooh.
And I have a negotiation focus, so I think that'll work as well.
That is also correct.
All right.
His presence in command if you needed that again. Well, shit. That is 4 successes that you have rolled there. You whisper into his ears and perfectly conjure into his mind the horrors of tedium of paperwork that, yes, it might be something to do in this existence on this dusty rock, but that misery is worse than nothing in his mind. And you get that perfect sense of how those dark clouds are taking shape and how this man would rather find something else to do or dream of being off-world for another task rather than the just the simple guard duty as opposed to having to put up with anything that means producing any amount of paperwork. So he's like, just get the. I'll take the. There. Call it a done deal. He'll lower the force field. Look for what you need, and then slip out quietly as you can.
A pleasure doing business. And I flash him my nicest used car salesman smile.
You can tell that this the Kohach is very perturbed by your presence. He only acknowledges your vaguely non-Klingon features as he can make out, and just something about him gives you the sensation that he feels slightly unclean having done any sort of deal with you.
I bow and back off, back to Raldar.
So, with that, you are able to enter. Kelsaw is already starting to run sensor scans and looking around for the important parts that she would need.
That's negotiated on the back end. Good job.
And I
Thank
will
you.
drop the joke yet again. Ooh, synchronizes.
Well, we may yet locate what we need here. I am I could always assist with the roll if there's anything you want to look for in particular, or beyond our transporter parts. Basically, if you want to roll engineering and reason, then I would give you the chance to look for potentially useful components here.
I think we need to look for some power relays for our disruptors, since they seem to be a bit on the fritz.
Oh, the shade, Zionol.
I told them not to use those weapons, but somebody insisted on disruptors. But what do I know? I just sell the weapons.
Well, the captain's choices of weapons are always in question, but we can talk about that later.
I look forward to our conversation. Now, Mr. Korg, and I will just grab Azek and just used car salesman style, just isolate him from the group and start trying to figure out what it is that Azek is looking for in here. While Raldar and Kelsa do the important stuff, Azek and I want to get Azek on a shopping spree.
Oh god. Oh no. A date in the junkyard.
Azek's a little taken back, but probably navigational. I don't know. They probably don't have memory banks and stuff here, but navigate improvements on the navigational sensors would probably be good.
I think it's worth looking into.
So, as you start looking about, that's going to be let's see, sorry, Raldar. That's going to be reason and engineering from you. I will call this. I'll give you one high difficulty task to help you locate possible parts. So let's call this reason and engineering. The difficulty will be 4, and Kelsa will be assisting. As a matter of fact, I'll have her roll. She provides no help, so.
Nab, someone toss me a cold momentum.
Joe, if you'd care to drop a point of momentum there, just open up or click on the momentum,
Have at it.
and then pull one of those out.
Oh yeah. All right, let's hit it. 3.
Okay. Well, I will give you 2 of 3 options. One of those can be the transporter parts. Then you may pick supplemental power relays that could be applied into a weapon system, or you could take what is in the box.
The mystery box, huh? Oh. Wow, you dare risk my compulsion with the mystery box.
Yep. Just game show host Traven here is like, yep. 2 compelling options here. You're already going home with the transporter parts. But will you take the vacation to Boreth, the supplemental power relays, or what we have in the mystery box? I'm so breaking immersion here.
I'm going to use the lizard brain moments of I like guns. I like having big guns. I will keep our big guns. I will take the power relays.
Okay, and with that, Fantasy Traven vanishes, and yep, between the two of you, you are able to find the parts that you need for the equipment. It'll take a bit of time to extract, but you have you start pulling out compartments from a few modules. These'll take hours to completely match and put back into the transporter pads. I suspect it'll be further time to actually make it or rather to ensure that they work properly to restore full functionality, but I suppose at least we'll have one functioning pad. Well, we have it in the meantime, and we'll be able to get a few more maybe, get the rest maybe in another couple days of this, with what we find here.
All right.
So,
All right. Let's.
but yeah, as Kelsaw exposits the possibilities there, we'll say some time elapses. Is there anything else that you would wish to do while all of you are running through the junkyard?
Azek, what we doing? What we doing, bro?
Just looking for the sensor stuff, I thought.
So yeah, sensor data banks. If there's any intact sensor data banks, navigational arrays, stuff like that, that could have information.
Spare jukeboxes?
Of course.
I will let you.
That'd be a reason engineering, maybe.
Yep. I'll let you fluff out. Tell you what, I'll give you a difficulty 1 roll. I'll let you on that, and I will let you fluff out one small inconsequential thing that you would find for the on.
Cool. You want to roll that, and then I can assist.
Yeah. And just for giggles, because we have so much, I'm going to spend a momentum for an extra dice.
Very good.
Oh no.
Classic.
That is one success. That succeeds. That is also a complication.
Okay, and what would I be rolling?
I think the same, but perhaps I would accept insight as well, if you would prefer.
Determination.
I would prefer insight and engineering. Oh yeah, Azek, do you want to spend your determination to reroll?
Yeah, I could.
What value would you be tapping?
Blade or my ship are my sharpest. No. Don't take me lightly.
Okay, you're trying to
tap. Yeah, I'm trying to impress him.
Very good. Then I will let you use that. You can re-roll as many zeros as you wish in that pool.
Do it.
Reroll 2 of them.
2 successes. All right.
I am no help.
Yep, but you managed to re-roll that complication, so that's gone, and you have another success on the board. So with 2 successes, what would you like to find amongst the crowd of items?
You know what? While we're looking around, a medical scanner might be just randomly finding it. That might help.
Gressic?
Our Kresic, yeah.
I'll say that you find something that actually looks. You open what appears to be a small container that was under a bit of debris, and it actually seems to be a small utility module. The equipment inside it seems mostly broken up, but there is an intact scanner there. It looks to be proper Imperial scanner, or proper Imperial grade scanner. Seems like the device is pre-war, a little bit after any time that you would have been flying around in the service, but at least before the 4 Years' War. So, not the not maybe the most recent kit necessarily, but actually probably close to a usable grade.
I think this will come in handy.
If you think so, who am I to argue?
Just Isaac holding up the device. A worthy find.
Zainal is quite disappointed, but we'll keep his smile on. If it makes Isaac happy, it's fine by him.
Oh. So, rather than going for the stinger of japery and finding out what's going on with Croker and Kresic, I honestly think that's a near end of adventure type thing. I think we should cut back over to the bar where, as they continue, or as the other team continues in the lot, Tabak, you and Woe are watching the passenger, Dakir, as you've come to know him, has gone through most, if not all, of the blood wine that was brought to him and that Woe has been handing over. He seems very little worse for wear at this point, though we'll give him one fitness and medical roll, just to be funny here. He, of course, has a focus, and he passes. You'll find I am quite familiar with these. I shall hope to find a more decent vintage on your own ship, Captain. And you might be muted there, Sean. Or is he away?
Damn it!
Yep.
Yes, muted. I thought I'd turn that off. I didn't move the switch all the way. Yeah, you would like to find a better vintage on my ship, so would I.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I'll get used to disappointment. What? I forget. What did you say? What was this yarn you talked about? Is some sort of freighter, garbage scow?
She might be old, but she is mine. Not a garbage.
And a couple of figures come in.
Mr. GM, what are those? What are those two? Yeah. What are those two red figures? I don't like this.
They
step up.
Noticing those two.
Yep. I'm just freely going to give you that everyone notices as these two fairly burly, fairly well armored people come in. They also seem to have scanners up. Chakwi, you must come with us. What are you talking about? We have been sent to retrieve you.
No, I have been sent to retrieve him.
What? Who would hire someone that keeps Hadebach like this in their company? The one on the right says.
Woe stands to her full height. Wanna run that by us again?
One of them is aiming to go around Tabak, while the other just kind of tries to drop to his full height, obviously coming pitiably underneath you.
Yeah, the guy trying to go around me now has a disruptor pointed in his face.
Very brave of you to take aim at me, Patak.
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Shut up. Back down.
Dakir says,
And leave.
"Oh, don't send them away. This is getting interesting. I want to see what they're made of if they'll just shrivel in their boots before Captain Tabak of the Yan and his for us and weapons officer, or tell me, are you made of sterner stuff? I want to see it. And that goading is all they need to pull two kutluches from their sides. Defend yourself! And,
Oh, great, assassins!
and that is where we are going to leave off with tonight's session.
Oh, good game.
Mr. GM, I will say this right now. As soon as his hand goes towards his knife, I'm pulling the trigger.
Well, we'll remember that right at the start here. But for those in the recording, this is where we are going to leave things off. So we will go ahead and catch you later. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you come back for next session. So see you around on the recording here.